All right, join me for the first thing of saying of the national anthem. National anthem. It's been a long Monday.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have to today. Okay. So first order is anybody here for the utility disconnect hearing? No? All right. Motion to.
I will make a motion, talking about the minutes.
Disconnect hearing.
Oh, I will make a motion to approve the disconnect hearing, if we don't have any.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Approval of prior minutes of June 2nd and June 16th.
I make a motion to approve both June 2nd and June 16th, since we've reviewed those.
I have nothing. So.
I second the motion.
All in favor, say
Aye.
Aye.
aye. First up, unfinished business, unsafe building orders, Judge.
The first one to discuss is the First National Bank of America, which is 112 and 114 East 5th Street. And we published that in the paper 3 times again and included an additional person that's got an ownership interest.
Hey, Mike, did you say something? You can't hear anything? Okay, I'll try to slide you down closer to who's talking.
Sure. Definitely.
Can you hear me, Mike? So we advertised it a second time because a gentleman named Joseph Mohammed had a contract interest in that property. So it was re-advertised, and I was contacted by Damian Joseph, and I think he's here tonight. And he claims an interest in this building as well, and has communicated with me and me with Brad Lane about what his plans are, and I asked Damien to be here tonight, and so he's here. There are a number of issues with the 2 buildings or the 2 addresses, and I will let him introduce himself and talk about what his plans are, because I told him we need to establish a timeline for when these repairs were going to get done. So can you come up here so he can hear you?
All right. So, do you want me to start with the timeline?
Sure.
I'll have a seat.
Make yourself at home.
And state your name, please, so Mike knows who you're talking to.
I'm Damian Mohammed. I am co-owner of 112 and 114 East 5th Street in Fowler, Indiana. So let's see. Where are my things? So right now, the 2 properties are vacant, but they are structurally sound, and they're 2-story brick buildings, unoccupied. They were previously occupied by on the top floor by my father, but he moved to Maryville, so I then took co-ownership of the building.
And how is that? Did he, like, there's nothing recorded, is why I ask.
Oh, why he moved?
No, why? What is your interest?
I'm on the deed with 5th. Well, I'm on the thing with the bank.
Are you like a contract purchaser or something?
They put me on as
So your dad was purchasing it on contract.
Yeah, so he was the first one, and then they put me on with him.
Okay.
Because I was going to take over the property with him when he got sick.
Okay. So I'll have to take a look at that, but anyway, keep going, because you're the one that's responding.
Oh, was I supposed to bring that document?
We'll talk about that after tonight. I talked to Brad Lane about what you and I talked about and about your plans, and we're gonna have some questions for you to answer.
Yeah.
But not necessarily on the spot, just, you'll need time to respond to, but you go ahead.
All right, so right now, we had some issues with the building, and the building had some broken windows, which we sealed off for right now, which did have a bunch of stray cats that did go into the building, and then there was a total of 10 cats, which we were able to remove the 10 cats, and we blocked off all entryways to it. And what we did do to stop that is we do have some people around town that does end up feeding the cats, that does bring more stray cats around to the building. So we've been monitoring and removing any type of watering bowl or food from the building, from the back of the building.
Do people have access to the inside of that building?
Nope.
So there was in the rear by the back door, and I'm looking at Brad because he told me he took a picture of this, and I've got a picture, but there's a hole like in the foundation where things could get in. Has that been blocked in any way?
That's been blocked. We sealed it temporarily. So what had happened was the water meter was down there. From what I was told, I was told by the next door neighbor. It happened after my parents had moved out, and I guess the water company, they had tried to get in, and they said, I had initially thought that someone tried to move the big block out of there, but they said it was a seepage on there, and they tried to move it, and then it just sunk in. So we're gonna have to, me and my wife, we're gonna have to take the block out and then reseal it completely.
Is the meter inside the building?
Yeah.
So that may be needing to be changed. That's generally a problem. That'll be up to the utility guys. They don't like
I thought
inside
it was
the meters.
outside. I thought
What is it?
The meter was outside now. I'll have to double check on that, but I thought
Okay.
we moved it outside.
Okay. We'll check that out. Okay. Let me just go through this order, and then you can
Yeah.
address each one, or if we need to put a.
Oh, do you want to
Time frame.
update this?
Sure.
Here. I just changed a couple dates. That would
Is-
be more.
Okay. So, do you think all of the broken windows are at least covered?
Yes,
But you boarded some up.
we boarded some up. And if there's any new ones, we'll board them up.
So, the ones that are boarded up are part of what's the problem. So, there's going to have to be a time frame for replacing the windows that are covered with boards.
Yes.
Okay. So, do you know how many windows are covered with boards?
So far there is 2 windows that are covered with boards.
How much time would you need to have glass in those windows?
It wouldn't take long. Because I was planning on doing the clean out, and I was going to start with the back of the building first, and then that's where the broken windows are, in the back
Okay.
of the building.
So we'll save that for a moment. And so tell me about your clean out, because what we had was repair the ceilings and treat for mold inside the building was one of the things, and apparently you've had a water leak because some of those ceilings came down.
Yeah, that was before. And then they replaced the roof on there. So it has they replaced the roof, I think, in 2020 or something like that. But it's a 5-year-old roof, and it's a metal roof.
Okay. So you don't believe it's currently leaking?
Nope, not at all.
Let me just go through this in order. Remove trash, overgrowth, branches, and weeds around the building.
That is going to be what we're planning on doing once, because there were still stray cats that are hiding in there. I don't want to bring the lawnmower and then accidentally run them over or anything like that. So right now we're figuring out a plan to remove all the weeds. If there's not much, we were pulling them by hand.
How much? I mean,
That shouldn't take long. We could probably knock that out in a couple days or a day.
I mean, for your benefit, how this works, what their role is. I'm just the attorney. I'm not a vote maker here, but they've heard this unsafe building order and found that it's an unsafe building based upon the things that our building commissioner has represented when we sent this to you as observations. And so they were the ones that are going to change this in any way. Right now, everything is dead. So I understand that's not be happening. They're going to have to be the ones that modify this unsafe building order going forward based on that. So all I'm trying to do is get information. So if they agree to whatever time frame you come up with, I can put it into another order that anybody can review in 30 days or 60 days or whatever they want to review it in, and we can see how you make progress.
That sounds perfect.
That's what this is all about. So on the back to the broken windows then, how long do you think it would take you to do, in light of the other things you're going to be doing, how long do you think it's going to take you?
I can get I'm gonna get a dumpster out probably next week, and I'll clear out the side that where the broken windows are. And
I'm talking round numbers, 30 days.
yeah, 30 days.
And then to remove the trash and the overgrowth and things on the outside,
5 days, less than that. Yeah, 5 days.
then a list of repairs. Let's just go through these and see if we disagree on this list of repairs. Repair or tuck point brickwork deterioration. Do you think there's any point? I mean, there were some photos taken that the building commissioner took that show some areas that are pretty.
On the outside where the alley is, from what I can see, because it's in between, sandwiched in between the two buildings, there was nothing but on the.
Not
if you go-
sandwiched between the two buildings, maybe on the alley side.
Yeah.
So what you mean?
Yeah, in the alley side. I know if you go on the back of the building to the top floor, to the back,
Example of an area that the mortar is being. You know where that is?
is that in the alley? Is it? I'm not sure.
It looks like it's in the alley. Why don't you go up there, Brad? Because the back is similar.
Yeah, that's an alley.
That's in the alley.
Okay, just looking to see if there are any more pictures of touch point. Okay, that's a picture of the touch point. So can you get an estimate on repairing the mortar in that section?
I can definitely get an estimate under that.
So this is Brad Lane, who's your building.
Oh, nice to meet you, Brad.
This is Damien Mohammed, right?
Yep.
Damien
How are you saying, Damian Mohammed? But-
Mohammed, I'm sorry.
No,
Okay. So he is going to need access to inspect the building.
Yeah.
And you guys can work that out after the meeting, and I can send you an email that has his contact information with a copy of whatever was I done tonight. But anyway, it'll be where he says it needs to be repaired, and then if you think that it doesn't need repaired, you're going to need like an engineer's opinion that says it doesn't need repaired. And we're not asking the engineer to go over every brick. If he's talking about what's in that picture, it may not be that expensive to get that.
Oh, yeah.
truck put in. So, there are people in town here that do that. I don't know.
And then I didn't even see that, so it's like, right.
And then that was one window that was broken. Those are on the repair list, or it's been covered up.
Those have not been covered up. I can cover those up and put those on the repair list.
So that's what we're talking about in part on the windows, and then the two windows that are already boarded at the top.
Okay, those ones?
Those need to be the back of the building, there's this
Track. Well, the header of that door is fall.
So that's a repair that he needs to see done.
Gotcha.
And then, maybe I'll scan and shoot you a copy.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you know what we're talking about. That's that hole in the foundation that I was talking about.
We seal that up, right? Temporarily seal it up.
Okay, that's the same one.
Okay.
Then on the inside, that's where the roof came, the ceiling came down. And that just may be old prior to them repairing the roof. That's an example of the debris and a concern about mold.
Right.
Not the inside of that. Same. It's, you know, the condition. You know, that needs to be cleaned up, they want it cleaned up, and so, after all of this is done, and you get the AOK from Brad, which is when they give the AOK, done here. Before you move anybody into that, you need to knock. Just come down Holland, just means somebody goes up there and make sure it's up to code. So, they'll be looking, Brad, be looking to see that all of that's been repaired. I don't know if there's more than that, I don't know how to identify it. So it's, need somebody giving an opinion about that because it was wet.
Yeah.
For a long period of time.
What's your overall plan?
The overall plan building is right now we're gonna clean out everything, gut it out from the inside. On 112, we're gonna keep the apartment on top as an apartment once we get that out, and on the bottom floor, which was like an office space, we are not sure exactly what we're gonna do with it, but the idea that we had was it to have some type of like an art space for it. And then for 114 on the top space, I was gonna clear that out and then just has it as like a working studio. And then at the bottom floor, was gonna have like some type of retail. I was thinking about like type of retail stuff for it.
Was there a plan to have an apartment downstairs?
No.
Okay. Is the downstairs of 112 and 114 both going to stay commercial on the ground floor?
Yes.
And then upstairs at Center Lake, one may be a studio and one may have apartments?
Yeah.
Because one of them's already set up for apartments.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, both of them are set up as apartments.
Do you think that the upstairs commercial space may have the artist, would that be part of the downstairs business or would that be a separate business?
I would feel like it would be like a separate business.
I mean,
Yeah.
whatever your agreement is, I'm not trying to tell you, just asking. Because BZA is getting ready to hear a request for somebody to chop up their downstairs in multiple units. It's going to be a tough sell because the town is taking steps to try and prevent ground for apartments in the downtown because they got way out of hand about 20 years ago where there's a kiddie pool on the sidewalk in front of next to the Fowler Hotel and a barbecue grill and a kiddie pool and people were walking by it and that's not what a business district is. So that they've tried to separate that a little bit. That's why I'm asking you about what your plans are for apartments.
I mean, I could definitely take up the 112 and 114, and then just have as all commercial space.
It's going to be, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. You can have, without even permission, you can have upstairs residential apartments in a commercial district. It's the downstairs that they
Oh
care
yeah,
a lot about.
definitely
because-
not gonna have that.
Okay. So I can circulate copies of your renovation plans to them,
Yes.
but are you asking them for additional time then necessarily to do these things?
Yes. Especially with the clean out, but from what you had what you guys wanted, I will get those ones done right away. It's just the clean out. I want to get the whole building cleaned out.
I think the best thing to do is, once you guys figure out all that, let him and I meet this week if you have time
Yeah,
and
definitely.
walk around.
So, would you, town council, consider continuing this for like 30 days until we have an update, and then see what is left on this unsafe building order to talk about more time to fix? Because like the tuck pointing is probably not a quick fix.
Right.
My biggest concern is the safety. Obviously, if you're going to address those things, it's a fire department hazard. It's a health hazard. And I don't, are you a resident of Benton County?
Yes,
Okay.
Do you live across from my office?
I do.
Okay, so that
Okay,
he's in
so-
in the White House.
And
across.
nothing against anybody that owns a building that doesn't live here, but since I've been on the board, we've torn down 3 downtown buildings and at least 3 houses, and majority of those didn't, or were residents that didn't live here, so they didn't care to take care of it. And so I think my biggest concern is I know it sounds like you've had a process to get to this point, and so I personally want to see some sort of good progress. I mean, we understand that it takes time to fix things. We try to give, sometimes I think we're a little bit too lenient on those things, but I think when you meet with Brad, we need to make sure that they're because of the fire department, I think that's a huge issue since it's a vacant building. And then my other thing is because it's attached to other buildings in our downtown. I would assume since you have a bank involved, you've got insurance or construction insurance policy that backs it in case there is something that goes wrong with the remodel or something fails, because we've had that happen also. So the big push on this is not to target individuals. It's because the cost to tear down a building when we end up inheriting it. I don't think we paid anything less than $30,000, upwards of $80,000 and more to get rid of a commercial building. And so it gets costly, and that's what our goal is to prevent that. And so it's not that we're trying to target you or
It's just that-
push you along, but we would rather see you either sell it or get it to where it could be used for commerce, which is great, or get rid of it so somebody else could move forward with it, so we don't end up with another empty lot. And that's the big driver for us trying to push these along, so we don't end up with that. So I'm in favor of a 30-day extension
I'm in
with
favor.
progress.
Can the parts that we were talking about within 5 days, as far as like the trash and landscaping and bushes, can that be done within the 5?
Yeah.
And then everything else in 30? So to see
Yes.
something else within the first week and then the balance 30?
Is that your motion?
Realistically, probably the first week of September would be ideal because you're already 3 weeks away. I mean, before he meets with you guys again.
You guys want to say? Are you saying what is that?
To be-
When's your meeting? Because of Labor Day, when's your first meeting? And
The Tuesday after.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be the second.
No,
The 9th?
in Labor Day.
Do you guys want me to email you pictures of the outside?
Labor Day
landscape?
is on the
First.
first Monday.
So the 8th.
So since we're not meeting on the holiday, it would be the 8th, September 8th.
I thought she said the Tuesday. We usually do it the Tuesday.
Oh, the Tuesday. Okay, so yeah, so then September 2nd.
Okay.
okay. You email me pictures. That's great, and I'll keep the pictures going to Brad and to the town council. So what they're going to do is continue the order until September 2nd. And in the meantime, Brad will have his inspection and we'll start working out what things are, well, you heard the priority, 5 days on the trash and debris and whatever the vegetation is in the back, get rid of it. I mean, and there are cats involved and so be it.
We've got a lot of great contractors and companies that can help locally that would be able to help, hopefully. So you have somebody that's close. So
It's pretty
sometimes
sweet.
it's hard to find people.
So I'll send you a copy of this order. Mike, did you have any questions or comments? Are you good with continuing this till September 2nd?
Motion.
I'll make a motion to continue to September 2nd.
I'll
for our next meeting.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming.
And then Stan, why don't you come on up here, please? And this is at 910 East 3rd Street,
Yeah.
and a repair on a roof.
Yeah.
You're gonna miss, there you go. What's your plan?
put a new roof on.
What, do you have a time frame for that? I saw the 2 ladders.
Well, I covered the hole,
Okay.
all right?
I mean,
And either last week or maybe it was this week. Anyway, after we had the big wind, I had a limb fall out of the tree.
Oh.
Okay, it's all hollow. So I went down to Menards today and bought a limb saw so I can cut it down. So anyway, the tree's hollow. And guy said, well, you put a roof on and the tree falls, you got the same problem again.
Mhm.
So I talked to Jeff Budrow and he said, well, yeah. He said, how big a hurry are you in? I said, well, I'd like to get done. He said, well, I'm doing ditches now and I probably won't cut trees till November. I said, I want it done before that. So I talked to a guy over at Oxford, and he was going to give me a price. And I called a roofer, and he was in Mexico, and he's coming home. He said, I'm coming home today, I think, and he's going to come look and see if we can work on the roof and leave the tree, but the tree's all over the top of the house. And when I was a little kid, it was a big tree. That's 86 years ago. So it's probably a 125-year-old tree, maple, and it's hollowed down through the middle. And it needs to come down. So that's my goal, to get the tree down. And Ruben's coming this week to see what we can do.
can the roof be on by the next meeting?
No, probably not.
What do you guys, what's your input on this?
I personally hate to keep extending it.
Pardon?
I hate to keep extending it, since we knew the roof needed to be fixed all along.
What are we saying?
There hasn't been any progress, and they don't want to keep kicking this down the road.
You know, probably not the place to bring this up, but I took an oath one time I would protect the Constitution from aggressors, both foreign and domestic. Well, I'm trying to figure out what domestic is, and there's something in the Constitution about private property. What is that?
You're allowed to have some of it as long as it doesn't affect everyone else's private property. You can't just do what you want. There are rules.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they said the Constitution. Some people don't make any difference. They do what they want.
I mean, as far as I can tell, you've done what you want,
Not
And it-
exactly.
and it's not really working out well for everyone else.
The Constitution also allows us to act on the health and well-being of everybody else.
Pardon?
The Constitution also allows us to act on the health and well-being of everybody else around you and us. That's part of the reason. So
Well, Ruben's coming tomorrow, or this week. We'll see what he's got to say. So I can't give you an answer.
You could consider giving him a deadline, like September 2nd, and holding a fine in abeyance. That if he gets it done, great. If not, the fine gets imposed. You can modify your order some other way if you. The roof is shot. I mean, I'm not a roof guy, but I can see. You know that roof is shot.
I'm not a roofer anymore either.
Well, our building commissioner says the roof is shot.
Pardon?
The guy that gets paid to look at building problems in Fowler thinks your roof is shot. So talking about it isn't fixing it. But that's
I
all
would
we-
be okay with going to the next meeting as far as having it completed and done.
The next meeting as in,
September 2nd, but
Okay.
having the roof completed.
I think we need to put a fine involved with that if it's not done.
Yeah, I mean, we've pushed these things down the road for quite a long time. And understanding that there's weather and all these things that take effect that don't allow us to work on things all the time. But we have to get something done. So,
We only had that thing for a month.
right.
Wasn't mine exactly.
I understand.
Okay.
I make a motion to extend it to September 2nd, and as long as the roof is completed, and if not, then a fine.
And what fine?
What's the normal? Is there
Anything,
any-
if you find that he willfully failed to comply, $0 to $5,000.
What have we
It's
been
only
doing?
money.
5,000.
Everybody wants
We've
it.
been doing 5,000.
No, there's not enough of it either.
All right, then 5,000.
So what, up to September 2nd? Is that what we're talking?
Correct.
Yes.
And I'll send you that in an order that says complete it by September 2nd.
I got the one for the 3rd of the month last month on, or I got it on the 3rd, now it was on the 2nd. Whoopsie.
Okay.
Mail.
So I have a motion to have a second.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 I'm not alive, I don't have to come, do I?
None of us have to come if we aren't alive. So.
Do I mail this to 910 East 3rd Street? Do I use 910 East 3rd Street as your mailing address? Where do you want your mail to go?
It's now going to 505, that's gonna be my resident,
505?
East First. Just did that.
I'll mail it there. That's all.
Okay. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.
The other things that I have are plan commission ordinances. Is there anything? What that is that's the roof that's held in abeyance right now, right? That is, has Paul Shutter started there? Or,
That's
I'm
right.
sorry, Steve Shutter, geez.
I haven't talked to him, might give him a call.
I don't think it started.
I think we started cleaning it out.
Yeah, I think.
That was the first step.
Okay. Yeah, we're just holding that in advance while he gets that squared away. So take care of it, keep it on the back burner. Okay. Bajas. This is a zone map change, and this is Mr. Baja, correct?
Yes.
And he owns it, and it's the former doctor's office on East Street, and it was zoned general business. It's the only thing out there zoned business. The church is in a residential zone, like churches should be. And so while his is zoned general business, he can't get the benefit of the homestead exemption from the assessor's office, which is really why he can tell you, but that's why he's asking. Is that accurate? And so the plan commission gave it a favorable recommendation. No one showed up in opposition, kind of a routine thing. So now it comes before you to consider, because ultimately they just recommend their advisory. You decide. And so this is an ordinance that would change his zoning from general business to R1 single family residential. And there are 2 copies if you're interested. I need a motion. Pass that. 1 copy for me, 1 copy for Sarah. And then I recorded, and that officially ends the process. And it's
You sent these to us, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I remember you sent all that, yeah.
Mike, did you have something to say?
I'll second the motion.
So Mike made the motion to pass this ordinance 2025-0707, and we'll call this one A. I got one more.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do you want us to go ahead and sign these?
Yeah, yes, please. And so I'll mail you a copy of the recorded ordinance. Sure. Bill for postage, publication. Box. That's all. They're gonna see it, I'm gonna record it right in front of them. But that you will need to go to the auditor's office. They will have a homestead exemption form to fill out to get the homestead exemption. And if is your wife on the deed as well, I think? Yes. So you'll need your and her last 5 digits of your social security numbers and last 5 digits of your driver's license numbers. That's how they make sure that everybody in Indiana gets one homestead exemption.
I'll get that.
Okay, we're done. That's good. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I'll check this out.
I'm gonna talk to you about your car warranty.
So that's the end of that one, and then the last one is this RV regulation ordinance.
Oh, yeah.
And so the plan commission gave this also a favorable recommendation. There was one person, and I think it was Brian Flynn, who showed up asking some questions because his sister, I think she comes from Atlanta or someplace, every summer and parks for a month at his house. And he's got it all set up for like a hookup and stuff for her to, they've done it for years, and he wanted to make sure this wouldn't prohibit that. And what this would require is that they get a permit from town hall, is all. So that there's a stopping and an ending point. You don't need a permit if you're only going to be parked for less than 7 days. If it's more than 7 days, you've got to apply for a permit prior to any occupancy and pay a $50 application fee to the clerk treasurer. And then that permit gets considered by the town council and decided on by the town council in a public meeting, which you can issue at your discretion for a period not to exceed 30 days. That's pretty much the gist of it. And then if you violate the ordinance, you could be fined $100 per violation. Each day is a violation. It's also declared a common nuisance, so we can file a nuisance violation. It's kind of the ordinance violation you can file against it. You'll have 24 hours to remove it after you're notified to remove it before the violation kicks in. You can't store RVs in the right of way. 1 mile street. You gotta be off the street.
Question. Yeah, somebody coming here, Texas, right? They don't know this. They have a little bit of time to apply for this, or say like friends, all kids take turns to pick up. They come. Can't occupy that motorhome. So apply for this town board. How are we gonna do that? Well, this existence.
It's gonna be advertised 2 times in the paper, Mike.
Been reviewed.
And the bed review.
Not everybody gets it.
That's a legal requirement to make an ordinance with a penalty. That's where that comes from. That's what the law requires.
I'd like to see.
On our
It could be put on the website.
Did you just say, Jeff, that if you're only gonna be there less than 7 days, you don't need a permit?
Right.
Right, less than 7.
So that's 8 days.
I'm
Just curious,
They
can
can't
apply
apply
for
for
that
that
during
on
that 7 days or what?
They don't need to apply for it if they're gonna be here less than 7 days.
Yeah, but if they are gonna be 7 days.
They
I
need
know
to.
about this ordinance.
I
I
think,
think there ought to be.
or what you're saying, if I'm understanding correctly, is if I showed up tomorrow and then I find out about it and I know I'm gonna be here for more than 30 or up to 30 days or whatever, that I can apply for it right then. Is that what you're asking?
Well, wait a minute. Just an option.
Right.
Notice. Didn't check the town website.
That says we have to vote on it before the permit is given.
Mhm.
So that's where it might be a problem.
So if you wanna,
You only meet once a month, right?
Yeah.
Is there a way we can write in? I think there are situations like emergencies like that. What's that? As a house fire or something. Is there a
That would be different, though, I think.
right? Is there a way we can include that approved by somebody?
you'd have
have a
to,
special.
you'd have to amend that ordinance. Right now, the decision maker.
Yeah, through an email and.
If, I mean, the problem with that is it deprives the applicant the ability to, or any neighbors, the opportunity to say, that's not a good substitute for a public meeting. Maybe that's a better way of saying what I'm trying to say. That would be the challenge.
I guess if we pass the ordinance, I guess I'm trying to figure out the best language to somebody that is here for 10 days or 14 days. You know, if they're here for 7 days and they know they're going to be here for another, how do we grant that extension
What
in an emergency?
What you could do, which Brad will hate, but you could say that Brad decides them unless there's some issue about what they're proposing to do that he thinks needs to be decided on by you all.
Do they move it 20 feet, 10 feet? And is that okay? I mean, that's
Because he can go out and see if there's a safety issue or not, or
Right.
the chief of police. I think I'd
Sure.
keep it with the building commissioner, sorry, rather than the chief of police because you're gonna be thinking occupancy
right.
and
Yeah, but.
they don't care. I mean, they wouldn't know to care about sewage.
I mean, I would like to think that if anybody's gonna do that or comes in that situation, they're just gonna pull up with an RV, they should know to come to a town hall and do checking. Most people know you just can't park it somewhere. They need to know that. But then my concern is too, like as far as health issues, they're coming in to help family. What if that next thing you know, it's a year later and they still have health issues, and then
Yeah.
I mean, how long do we let it go?
30 days.
I'm in favor of
You said 30 days.
passing it, and then the next meeting, let's look and see what we can do to amend it to give Brad the.
I mean, it may never be an issue.
Right. I mean, yeah, you're right. But those are things that may come up. I think you can't write an ordinance for absolutely everything. So.
So to have that tweak on it that you're talking about will go back through the plan commission again. No big deal, but it needs to go through the plan commission
Right.
again and get a recommendation, and they can say, we're totally opposed to that change. But it has to go through the plan commission,
Sure.
and then it can come here and you decide. That's, they just have input on whether they think that.
And we can start the process for the next, whenever the next meeting is, so. But this gives us protections on some of these things that are problems now, so.
Mhm.
I mean, and if we have that issue that occurs before then, we can have a special meeting if we absolutely have to within that 7 days, so.
Mhm.
But I'll get it going on the plan commission. If you, do you want to pass what's there now and then?
I'm in favor of that, yes, so I don't know how you, what you two think or Mike thinks.
I'm in favor of
I'm fine
that.
with it.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to plan it, to approve it as written right now, with the intent to possibly look into amending it.
Second.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mike, did you hear that?
Gotta speak up.
Are you okay with that, passing that ordinance as is, with the understanding that they're gonna come back through the plan commission and ask for a quicker approval process?
I'd like to have some more time to talk, but
Yes, they have. So,
like I said, I'd like to have more time to talk about it.
okay, so they would show you as an abstention on that?
What was that, Judge?
They would show, Sarah will show you abstaining on that vote?
Yeah, like I said, I'd rather have more time, so I'd say that'd be more of a
And they, got it. I understand. Thanks, Mike. So I didn't print that out. I have my marked up copy, and remember we talked about removing a word and then leaving the word back in, and so it's got that marked on it, so.
Anything else?
No.
I got a question on it. Is that a new ordinance? Good.
Send this one.
Yes.
All right, more unfinished business, community center.
I've got something to say before you guys start, just to kind of explain what was going on. So Harold at our last meeting came in, and they're here to represent the community center, and they came in with concerns on just staying in business and paying their utilities and the expenses monthly plus annual. And so they were just asking for help. So I reached out to Emily, who represents KERPC, which is our Kankakee Iroquois Regional Planning Commission. And I usually go there for meetings and things. And KERPC is who helps us with our grants when we need things, like uptown with the parks, you know, with the bathrooms and the basketball courts and everything up there. And so she did say that they do not have grants for operational expenses, that it's just for like improvements, like for instance, the bathrooms uptown. But she did have a suggestion. She said, it was last minute notice, but she, at the time, she said the next day, there was, let me get the right name. She said there was a Senior Connections Organizations meetup where people were getting together to, at that time, she was mentioning they were getting together to talk about what they did and as far as with their senior centers and what kind of progress they had. So I reached out to Diane to see if she would be able to go to one of these meetings, which was actually the next day. And so she was nice enough to squeeze it into her schedule. She drove all the way to Rensselaer to meet up with this center. And that's kind of why I brought them back in here, so she could talk about what she found out at this meeting for us about helping them out. So, all right, Diane.
I have extra
Thank you.
copies if anybody wants. So,
Thank you.
okay, I will try to be brief. That's hard for me, if you know me. Okay, so anyway, I met with the representatives of, actually, they were Area 1 Agency on Aging. We're Area 4 down here. I think everybody understands that, Area 1 and Area 4. Okay. Okay, so I met with them. It was kind of just a casual sharing meeting at Rensselaer, the Sheriff's Department. And Area 1 includes Lake and Porter counties and Newton, Jasper, Pulaski, and Stark. Lake and Porter were not represented because, I mean, those are the big populated areas, okay, and they do their own thing. Okay, so anyway, people from these other 4 counties were there, and, plus me. Basically, we kind of went around and we all introduced ourselves and why we were there, what we represented, and so on. A lot of the people were people that would provide services. There was a funeral director, representatives from assisted living facilities, healthcare, investments, etc. My capacity was as a board member of the Benton County Council on Aging, and I shared that we were struggling with funding, and we talked about how so many sources of fundraising and personal donations seem to be drying up. I mean, that's kind of our issue right now. They kind of wanted to know, well, what do we do? And I shared that we host 2 5Ks a year, going back, so it started in 2013. And of course, at that point, I was advertising for the Fowler Fireworks Frenzy. I happened just to have a few applications with me and distributed them. Unfortunately, nobody signed up on it, for it, but I tried. But anyway, we just had that race on the 4th of July. We do not have a bottom line yet, but I think it'll be fairly good because we got 1 major donation and quite a few lesser donations in addition to what, our profit margin is very slim as far as our registration fees versus our expenses. So, but with the donations, I don't have a bottom line. Like I said, I don't know yet. We're still waiting for some money to come in. But I mean, we made something on it, that I'm sure of. Other things, as far as our history of making money for the Fowler Community Center, going back to the days of the IGA cookouts, and we would host a bake sale there in the parking lot while people were getting their hamburgers, then they'd come and get their desserts. We made a killing on some of those, especially right after COVID. The first one after COVID, people were throwing us $20, for a half a dozen cookies. I mean, they were so happy to be out and about. So, at that point, but obviously there are no IGA cookouts anymore. There's no IGA, so much for that. But we are very grateful for the Monarch market, okay, so that at least, we made some money the first time around and kind of learned, okay, and we're looking forward to more successes as the summer goes on. As far as these people that I talked to, that shared their stories, the one that I thought was very intriguing, and again, from our perspective, Harold's perspective, my perspective, we're dealing with the senior citizens and want to do everything that we can for them. But there was a lady that intrigued me because she had kind of fallen into a situation where she opened her own business as a consultant because somebody, a friend of hers, I guess, a little old lady who wanted to stay in her home, said, could you help me rearrange my cabinets in the kitchen so I can reach all my dishes without standing on a step stool? And anyway, from that request, well, she went in and rearranged the kitchen cabinets, but then she became a consultant, and she now meets with the family members of the people that want to stay in their homes, and then they put together plans, to make that possible, so that person, that senior citizen, doesn't have to move into assisted living, etc. And it became a business for her, and she made a point that she is indeed very, very busy doing that. And I don't know if we could do something like that around here. I have a feeling Harold might latch onto that, possibly. They do meet on a monthly basis. They invited me to come back. I chose not to simply because what we're dealing with those counties that I mentioned, they're a lot more urban. we're very rural. I mean, our needs are different, our situations are different, and so on. And it is a long drive. So I just basically declined, becoming a member of the group because I didn't really think. I think I'm better off. We're better off served just those of us from here stick around here and work here. So anyway, that's my report. Anybody want a copy of it? Okay.
Thank you for going up there. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
it was fun. It was fun. It was very interesting. But thank you for inviting me.
Okay, you're welcome.
Or asking me or whatever.
You're welcome.
I'll take one of those.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
And Diane, I know you were talking about the bake sales as far as that's something else that you guys do for raising money. I happened to hear last week on the radio, it was out of the Lafayette area, but there was a senior center, and I know this is a community center, but in general, the senior center,
Right.
one of their fundraisers was kind of like baking foods and meals and casseroles, kind of like the homestead, and they make casseroles, and if you want one for whether it's graduation parties or just you want to buy one to send to somebody or just you want to buy it yourself.
Yep.
So I didn't know if that, I was just kind of, I thought that was interesting. I heard that because I know restaurants kind of do that and you can buy them frozen, but with you guys baking, I didn't know if maybe that might be more profitable, making an actual like whole casserole and things like that.
Lasagna.
And lasagnas and selling those.
To be perfectly honest, I think the number of bakers has dwindled. I mean, it's really hard. We were having so many more people. I mean, just going back a few years, 5 years ago, so many more people were participating from Fowler Community Center. And, there are so many people that are aging out and they're not getting new blood in. But I mean, it would be a matter of like even working together with another organization and, could you help us, could you, with that, I think providing casseroles, et cetera, would be good.
Were you able to come up with what your operating expenses were?
That's Harold's.
Okay.
Harold's
So
domain.
come up.
Right.
In the last 12 months, our operating $30,000. What that broke it down into 1.
No, that's fine. So you said 30,800? Okay.
Since the last meeting and the last commissioners meeting, and had any opportunity, any changes in your funding that you've had available?
No, I was in the commissioners meeting for the month last Tuesday. I came back and they empty-handed. They had no point. I'm on the agenda for next month, but basically what they're saying to me is, we got all these electric companies that are generating wind for them and asking for 25,000 or so.
Sounds easier than it is.
I've been researching that, and the thing that has happened, generation is happening here, but these companies are the same issue you've got with this man with the apartment down here on there. Everything is cheap out here, but you gotta have to see. So, like the largest wind farms, there's 3 farms that they operate. They're in that county. The largest one is owned by an electric company in a suburb of Indianapolis. We're not dealing with local people. You know, they got the operations stuff out here. The ownership is absentee.
Of your monthly expenses, do you know roughly how much like your Meals on Wheels cost is?
Meals on Wheels is about nothing other than everything there is done wrong. The Meals on Wheels we get from Midland Meals, it's like, yeah, they're delivered here on Thursday, they go out on Monday. I raised the question, because I went down to the center this morning thinking that conversation with people who were involved in doing the meal. Door was locked. Basically, we're in a situation we don't have people. So we're not operational, which is to me devastating.
So you've got to have somebody there to help get the meals ready and get them distributed past the point of delivery.
Right. So that's why the doors were locked so much of the time because they had not placed it yet.
So there's nobody there. The Meals on Wheels doesn't go out, or
I'm pretty sure she told me that there was somebody.
I think that's one of the. I feel like it's one of the biggest priorities is making sure that works. Whatever we can come up with to help keep it going, one of the priorities. I guess are you able to get us a monthly breakdown so we can figure out where we can try to come up with some support from the town? I think we all agree we want to support.
Yes.
But of that 2,500, what's insurance? What's utilities? At least so we can keep the water on, the lights going. That's fine.
I broke that number out here. Yeah, and this is by monthly. Lipstone's average is $425. Insurance $189.90. Town of Butler, that'd be the water bill, $9. Hastings insurance, that's the liability. $1.90. Dollar pest control, $35. Fire inspection, $250. So we have a total of $1,283. Depending on an average month just for the utility.
Right. What's the fire inspection cost? Is that for the kitchen?
Kitchen, yeah. It's a monthly fee, and there's an insurance involved. Now, they only inspect it twice a year. It's like, don't twice a year, but there's an insurance involved in that. So,
The pest control is monthly?
pardon?
Pest control is monthly?
Yes.
Very, very negligible.
The issue is finding the elected volunteer. You know, the current fellows who worked the office for years, willing to come back, but she has to work to earn a living. Get her 80, but she doesn't have money to volunteer. So, you know, the economics of this is, the services that are available in our town are limited.
Right. Bill, so this is the fire inspection, are you paying for the extinguishers to be checked? Is there a hood in the kitchen, an overhead hood system?
There's an overhead system that's built into that hood over the, that's one of the things that they inspect. There's a replacement. Something that has to be replaced in that every 6 months. It has to do with a valve or something.
I would say I would have that reviewed. I don't know if that's something you can help look at, or if they can have, if you're not cooking or frying anything on a stove, and all you're doing is reheating meals, I don't know that necessarily. I don't know that you necessarily need it. So there's some. I think there's probably ways that we can help save on that cost, hopefully by looking at purposes, unless your insurance is making you have it for whatever reason. But if you're not cooking there and there's nobody there, do you really need it? I guess would be one area that I would look at for sure.
You know, and like one of the things that's not included in this is money we spend with Sanders County firm. You know, there's some of these things that mostly, it would seem to me, would be in their best interest to donate their time and help out a public service situation like this. And we put a sign in the window that says, that, you know, they are donating their time to over the same way with the pest. You know, and I would approach the pest control people, Standard, one other one that we're spending money for. The repairs on the furnace.
Oh.
Yeah, and you know, like we got the front windows are now blocked because of the people don't want you to be able to see in there. Like at night, they go down there and exercise. They'd be a setting target for somebody to sit across the street with a high-powered rifle.
Yeah.
So we've covered the windows. So now we have a situation where we could put signs there that says, in fact, I was thinking about this, we need a sign in there that says, the first law of economics is there is no free meal ticket. We got to find a way to pay for these things.
Right. Do you have a way of creating an invoice? Can the director create an invoice for services?
Yes.
The current director is very good at that.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't think she's going to be the director for that much longer.
Right. So somebody
transitioning to a different.
I mean, nobody wants to see it go away, and so I don't know if there's a way of on a month-to-month basis you could invoice us for services to Fowler, and then we could cover some of the basic costs, at least the power, or pay you a set fee, so we're supporting the seniors center. So if we can do that, if they invoice us for services,
I think they can do that. I think you can, if they invoice us, that's right. We can do it though.
We are always asking for donations. I think most of you have seen the exercise equipment. You're all familiar with that, okay, right. Which is very good stuff. And you know that we do not charge any fees for working out. The only fee is $10 for the key. I think $10 for the key, which you can use at any time of day to get into the building. So I mean that's it. So no dues or anything. And as a result, you know, we have signs all over the place about, you know, donations are greatly appreciated, and we have a couple of different donation boxes. And of course, our philosophy is we really would like Fowler to be a healthy place. And I know lots of times being healthy has a lot to do with what your income is, you know, the foods that you are able to eat, can you join a health club and stuff like that. We would like this town to be, everybody have the opportunity, if they want to be healthy, lead a healthy lifestyle, at least working out, and, you know, etc. They can do it for free at our place. You know, I mean, that's our philosophy. You know, on the other hand, of course, we have everybody working out. So And and I realize a lot of people, no, they cannot donate. If they just use our equipment and it makes them healthier people, and they don't have the money to give us anything, that's fine. We've accomplished part of our goal. But we know that there are other people that are not they're in a different category. And so I'm not sure, it seems like giving has kind of gone by the wayside a little bit over the years.
Where do you,
giving.
I know when you guys were here last month or month before, the doors were pretty close to closing.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Where do you stand now?
They're closed, basically.
Closed, basically.
Yeah. I
Simply
mean,
because we don't have the people to do it.
Yeah.
You know, my health is not.
So my
Like when I found out it was going to be closed, I told Val and I said, we're going to go down and keep the place open. So we went down that morning and you know, just gave her our time. And she ended up, she was on a machine and fell and injured herself, and so I've been even less accessible for the last month. I was able to get out tonight because she's making tremendous progress with her. She ended up having a shoulder replacement. And
so I'm just looking at numbers. If it helps keep the lights on and the water going and supporting the Meals on Wheels program, I think is the priority. I don't know what we would think about for the next 3 months if you could invoice us for services provided to the town at like, I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, $750. That would cover 3 of the biggest bills. But at least their liability, their water.
Do they need to put on the invoice the specific reason though?
Clerk.
It should be as specific as you can be.
Because obviously, if we're gonna do 700, that's not gonna, the water is not that much money. I mean, that was.
I would just say a set amount of 750 and it's applied to whatever. And just, I don't want to say we're reimbursing you for the water bill because we can't technically say we were reimbursing you
the question I would ask is where do we find it?
It's all Nathan. Okay.
You know, to do.
I'll pay her if I have to.
You know, the big thing we need is people.
Yeah.
So do we have that in the motion or just wait for the invoice to?
Wait, invoice. I would pay her. Wait for the invoice.
Okay.
I would pay her to do that.
Okay.
Sound good?
I like that.
Are you guys okay with that?
She does have
At least to start for 90 days.
Mhm.
They can keep some things going. So.
Yes.
So can one of you get in contact with me or Sarah or stop by and see how we can write that invoice?
Sure.
At least it gives you some of the basics covered to keep the doors open, lights on,
greatly
going.
appreciate everything you have just said. Okay.
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 You know,
We'll start there and see what happens in 90 days.
I think we need to. I was thinking this afternoon as I was going through some things in my kitchen and so forth. Who's the one person in this town who needs that business open other than just the people? In other words, the public image. And Cackley is the man I thought of. He's making money off of buying and selling properties.
Mm-hmm.
Every property, and we're selling a lot of properties out in this town. The problem is we're seeing it out of, and you just saw it tonight. This gentleman, that property we bought up out of town. All these apartments that are downtown, they're all of them are out of town. Mm-hmm. Nobody in town owns the downtown anymore. It's out of town people. So now we're at their mercy, and the next step is homeless and on the streets because we no longer have a county home.
There are some parts that are owned by people that don't live here.
We're headed down, friends. Yeah. I don't like to be.
I do think that this one gentleman lives in town.
Yeah.
This gentleman here lives in town.
Right.
That was up here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm Stanley's a friend. Yeah, he's local.
But the other,
no, Damien is also local.
Apartments, so.
Yeah, the apartments are, and they're making big money off those apartments. They're not free.
So
And
well, let's use what we can get from the town to hopefully keep things going in the right
So
the right manner for the senior citizens center, and we'll go from there.
we're in there pitching, doing everything we can,
Right.
to keep this going. But you run out of resources eventually.
Right.
There is no free meal ticket.
No free buckets of money.
No.
So. Alrighty. Well, if you want to get with Sarah, and then we'll work out the details on that, and then maybe
Okay,
Bill can
so,
help with the fire.
Give me a time when we need to get this done, and I'll have it down here for you.
I would say just stop by at some point, or have the director stop by at some point and see how we can word the invoice.
Just
to
come
keep-
down to the office down here.
So,
Come see
Okay.
me. Yeah.
I'll get it done. Within
All right.
a week.
what's that?
It'll be done within the week here.
Okay.
That'd be
Sounds
great.
good. Appreciate you coming.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the help. We keep this going for another 3 months. That's a start. That's a start.
All right. Miscellaneous business. I guess new business, Tom. Peanut.
There he is, Brian. Yeah, they chose me to propose
The
this.
guy. Okay.
You can sit with me, you know, you don't have to sit back there.
I can hear you.
Well, what we propose and what we're asking of you, I got a harebrained idea a couple years ago when Goodland lost their race on the streets. We race with the Southern Indiana Racing Association, and we would like to bring that race to Fowler. I've done a lot of legwork, figuring things out, but we've had zero negativity of everybody I've talked to about it. I've actually talked to Michelle a little bit, and I said something to you, Jason, but there's a lot of things that have to be done to make this happen. It wouldn't be this year, it'd be for next year if you guys would approve. But we can't go forward with this, of course, without your approval for one thing. But there's a lot to be done. So if, after you question me on everything, we got the answers that probably will satisfy you. I would like to have a tentative approval, if you're thinking you approve this, to go ahead and get some other things done. I've already talked to Blake, Sean about insurance, talked to a number of people, business people in town, and they're all for this. But I wanted to talk to John, but I think somebody already has about the streets. Well, about right. So what we'd like to do is get it approved first, and if we can do it, if you have any questions, I can answer whatever you need to ask me. I've got a list of things that I could go through, but it'd take half the night. So. But you've got a diagram there of where the best track would be. It starts right out in front of the building here, the start-finish line. Go down to Madison, turn right, go to the church, turn left again, go in front of the local bar, turn left, come back uptown, turn right at the bank, go to the post office, turn left, and then turn left in front of the Legion, and turn back in front of the office here. That would be the track. It's a half-mile track. I think it's 16 blocks to a mile. And I used to walk. Obviously. All the black X's is where parking for the race trailers would have to be. I marked the community center. That's a tentative. I haven't asked permission yet. We wouldn't use. Pardon?
That's the only one the town owns.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, you own this. No, Indiana Bill owns that. Well, the Legion owns the big one.
Right.
And if we run into problems with that, I've already went over and talked to the B&B. She's getting back with me. She's got to talk to some higher ups, whatever. I don't think that we will need much more than that, but if we do, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't mind if we parked here at the General Bell, Indian Bell, what used to be Indian Bell. And behind the bank, where they put their like repossessed cars and stuff back there, that all intertwines with what I would call the staging lane. And I don't have it marked, but across the street, the bank's property from the old insurance office to the guardrail. That would be the staging lanes. It would make a perfect track. The director for Southern Indiana Racing Association, he's also the director for Whiteland, where we race there also. They are chomping at the bit to get back up in this area because Goodland was voted the best track that they run for years, for like the last 20, 30 years. We just came back from Anderson. They just did their 30th annual. And the Sonoma Club runs that over there. If approved, we intend to do a nonprofit for this. Okay, have a committee, have officers, everything that requires. And I don't know, you say Goodland quit doing it for a reason because they couldn't get help. That's the biggest problem. I don't think we're going to have that big a problem because I would like to use Benton Central. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't do that because they actually give credits now for community service. So, but like I say, it's going to take a lot of work. So we are proposing to do it next year. And if we can get the town to come up with a date and the racing association to agree on a date, that's going to no holidays. You wouldn't get any of the carts here if you did that. So that's our proposal. I don't know what y'all think.
I do know, like you said, with I grew up in Goodland, and my mom and dad, as you know, were really big with trying to help out, and they were part of the volunteers that put up the bales of hay, and of course then they switched over to, because of the expense, they had to switch over to the plastic curbs or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do know, like, a lot of that stuff was, like you said, expensive. So I guess that would be my concern is getting all that covered.
Well,
and it did take, like you said, it was a lot of man hours.
The
to
barriers
get that thing set up.
Barriers come
purchased.
from Anderson. Okay, there's 2 semi-loads of barriers over there that they rent. It's $1,250 a truck. Barriers. They've got enough to do probably every area that we would need to do, kind of like they did at Goodland, and then use straw or whatever. We also have access. Well, we don't have access to all of it, but there are some here in town if we could use it. Maybe not. I don't know. But we could use straw for the rest of it. So we got the price. I've already talked to them about renting the barriers, and they do. They rent to every place here places. So
All right.
that would be him too.
All right. So you think we're okay then with covering the cost for those and the man out or the people to get them set up? And the only reason I bring that up is
What did you just say now? You're going to handle the cost of that?
no, that's why I'm asking. Are you? We are. Yeah. Are you?
What we are?
Because I just know from
Sorry, we ran out.
friends and family that helped out for so many years in
That
Goodland.
sounded pretty good.
Yeah,
first.
that was one of the issues
Yeah,
with
it's-
friends and family. Like
Yep.
it was. I mean, that was huge.
I didn't bring it, but I have a program from Anderson. And what the Sertoma Club did, they have this program that is an advertisement program. And you hand them out during the race. And it's got any business that donates will be in this program. And the town, the mayor put in his 2 cents, thanked everybody. And then you had like the police department and different ones that were put in for free to say what they want to say. The town council could say whatever you wanted to, maybe thinks of people, whatever. I should have brought that. I'm sorry I didn't. It's about that thick. And they brought enough money in every year with that program to pay for it. Not that we wouldn't accept help from the town.
Then I know in Goodland, they also had like the people that came in to participate in it, they stayed there for a few days in their campers. So would we be okay with like electrical and
Well,
how would
they,
all that set up? How would all that work with it?
They wouldn't need electric.
No.
Sarah might need one spot with electric, and I think you still have electricity on the sidewalks, am I right? All they need to do is set up an announcement area to announce the races and a few other things that they do. All the trailers that would come in, they take care of themselves. They either have a generator or something to run electric. You wouldn't have to worry about that too much. Only where we set start finish line probably somewhere. So I don't think we'd have problems with electricity or anything like that.
I mean, I don't think any of us are. I don't feel that any of us are opposed to it. Timeline and what do you need from the town to allow it to happen? Since we don't have a date, I guess that's
we got to
keeping
come
a
up
date
with a
maybe
date.
one of the biggest challenges.
Hopefully it won't be. I don't. Sarah right now has 6 places they race. One of them may not race, and that one's already been run. So if they don't race, that might be the date that they want to do this. I'm not sure on that. If they do it, and the mayor seemed like he wanted to do it, you just have to look at the schedule and then have the schedule here and let the town look at that. And I would like to have Matt Burpo is his name. He's the director, and he can explain things a lot better than I can. But I know how the racing end works. Some of the other stuff we're going to need a lot of help on, but he can guide us in the right direction. We do have Dylan helping us from Goodland, so he's done it for 20 years. So definitely going to listen to him. He's fired up more than I am, I think, to get this done because he didn't want to quit doing it. But, the health problem became a big problem. So from the town, of course, you'd have to have some street closure to get it done. They would come in on a Friday evening, say 5, 6 o'clock, and start setting up in parking lots or wherever we park them. And then the race would be Saturday and Sunday. And they don't normally run late at all. They're normally done around 3 to 4 o'clock with everything, especially on Sunday because they want everybody to get out early and so they can get home. They travel quite a ways to race these things.
Racers, remind me, like in Goodland, how many did we have?
At their heyday, Dylan told me one time last year that they had over 200 racers. I don't think we can expect 200, but I have some ideas to increase it. I want to get some local people involved in it, and that will also bring watch. Got a horse in the race, and it would be fun. And we could do some things to maybe facilitate that. Would love to have some events outside of racing, or a festival or whatever you want to call it, but have events for kids and some local people. I mean, you can have vendors if you want, but I'd rather see the local people. The Legion does food, and vets. There's a little restaurant uptown that does food. Bowling alley does food. And then if we need more than that, whatever you guys think. But a festival could be a separate deal from this, but I think it would help the numbers too. So that's our idea.
I know you're obviously wanting an answer right away, but
well, I don't really
do you have a deadline for us to give you an answer?
It's actually it's going to take a while. It'll take all winter to get this thing where we want it. So, I mean, I don't want to charge into this thing until I know for certain that you would approve it if we can come up with the date.
Okay. Then, so based off that, do you want to table it then? So that we can also talk to Blake and talk to
It'd
Lee
be
and
nice to have
Mike.
the other two council.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
I'd
fine.
like to
think-
have
I know-
everybody here.
You guys have kind of started the planning process, and it might be worth advertising, not that it affects a huge amount of residences in town. I mean, at least give them the opportunity to ask questions, I think.
Well, we intend to buy a policy too, an insurance policy, and we're going through Blake for that. And I talked to Burpo today, and he said that they carry their own policy. You know, regardless of what we do, they're going to have their insurance policy too. So everybody signs a waiver. You don't race unless you sign a waiver, no matter where you are. So that's something else too.
I would say we just leave it tabled, and if we get as much information, come back.
I'll tell you, I'm not real sure what else I can tell you other than, I mean, my plan or when I say I or me, I mean our plan, okay?
Right.
Is to start getting things together, start making some money on it so we can pay for the barriers, pay for, you know, the stuff that we're gonna need.
Sure.
And we're gonna need some time to raise that money. And most of our money, I believe, will come from the program itself, people advertising the program. So,
Well, then we'll go ahead and, I don't know if we necessarily need a motion for this, but just to table it for now so we can have the other two members here and to go over things when everybody's here.
Okay.
And then,
I don't think it's a bad idea if you find out what that date is and they want to come, we can always set a special meeting just for that purpose. I think that would be
well, it's not
So you
gonna
have
be
plenty
any
of time.
holidays, so I don't know what other
Right.
plans the town has for different dates. I mean, other than holidays, do
Could
you
you-
plan?
Could you at least get us what the schedule is now, so we know like what the dates look like?
who was the other person that you said could come talk or had questions?
Matthew Burpo is his name.
Is he somewhere that's somebody that could come here and?
Yeah, I actually, he says, you get the approval and we're gonna, it's him and Justin Lott. They're the race directors. Every
I
city
think
they
that,
go
I
to.
mean, if they could come here to a meeting, that would be great.
Yeah, and he said absolutely.
Or if that's something we need to have a special meeting where we don't take up time from everybody else.
Well, I would like to, I'll tell you what, I'll send Sarah she probably has Sarah's, schedule. She actually has it, she can bring it up.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, if we could maybe schedule a time to have them come and we could all talk together about stuff,
Mhm.
that'd be great.
Yeah, that sounds good. I can set that up at, what meeting you want me to come to, how long you wanna, everybody be here at the next meeting, or?
Do we want that to have like that as a
I would-
special meeting instead of
I
a
would
regular one?
say if you want to get confirmation, then we can set a special meeting like if you want it sooner than later, we can look at the 28th of July. If we can get, I don't know what everybody's schedule is, that'd be the biggest thing. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
and that way you have plenty of time to talk with
Them,
everybody
see
about
if we can get them
insurance
here,
and-
yeah. Yeah, Blake was supposed to have that information today, but he's not at work today, so that didn't.
I mean, I don't think any of us are against it. I think we would support anything that's interesting and
Well,
brings people
I
to the
think,
community. So,
And I think it would work out, I really do, I think we'd get people
Yeah.
come down for it, you just have to advertise.
so if you want to work on getting them and the dates that are possible, like I don't, like you said, other than the holidays, you know, we could stay away from those. Graduation may be the other big time.
Right.
That would be the only thing that I
Yep.
could think of. So,
And we'll put some thought into that too before we come back, but
okay, no, that's
at
fine.
least you'll have the schedule. And if there's any, I'm not real sure what date he's
What the
wanting to
schedule
do
is.
yet either, so I'll get with him and then I'll get back, but we'll plan, what, 28th?
I would say tentatively the 28th. We have to
Mhm.
just advertise
Well, yeah, we'll need to
3
check
days
with
ahead. So,
Okay.
other two
I think
members.
John
and-
has a question.
John,
The question I had, you said they supply all the barriers?
We
Are you
do.
talking racing barriers or road closed barriers?
They're like your road closed barriers. They hook together. And if a cart hits them, they kind of,
I'm just talking about 3 day, no traffic down these roads.
No, it'll be
Well-
blocked for time the race is going.
Only the
The
time.
these roads will only be closed when the race is going on?
There will be some, like the parking area, stuff like that, that would have to stay closed. But the main drag, we can open them up and let traffic go through. The only roads that would be, it'd be like a square here.
Well, the roads I see being affected, I ain't trying to,
Yeah, go ahead. That's the reason I gave you one.
every one of these roads leading up to a road closed needs a road closed sign. So there's 11 roads that are gonna have temporary road closed signs and some kind of closure to let it know that it's gonna be closed for that race. I do not have enough barricades to barricade off this area.
Okay, like
I
the
mean,
wood.
they'd have to be rented from like highway safety or something.
And
like
don't we
that.
have, aren't there practice times too?
It's all done Saturday until 3, 4 o'clock, and then Sunday till 3 or 4 o'clock. The track goes live at 8 o'clock normally in the morning.
Right.
So from 8 to 3 or 4 is each day,
Right.
2 days. And we won't let them in to park until late afternoon Friday.
Sure. I mean, I think that's something that we'd have to look at cost wise, if we had to rent or find or borrow, or I don't know what
Okay.
Goodland used to close down the streets when they had it. I don't
Are
know.
you every road leading up to these intersections you're gonna close off? Every one of those roads is gonna have a
Something
road
on
closed
it.
ahead sign plus a road closed sign, because it makes 11 dead end streets.
Would it be feasible, okay, take the street in front of the shop to block that off on 6th Street?
Correct. You'd have to have a road closed ahead sign there, and then you close it at 5th, correct?
You can't close it, I mean, at 6th
Yeah, we could
Street?
close it at 6. We could
Would that cut
do
down
like
on
a
the side?
4-block area, you mean?
Yeah,
You could.
I mean, that's.
Blocking off a
I
lot
know
more
you-
streets.
I know what in that eye, it's
That's a
saying
lot,
you're
well, I
asking
mean, that's a lot of streets. That's 4 city blocks.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And it would be 2 if we didn't, but.
And it's right in the heart of the town where everybody
Yeah,
crosses. I'm just
What-
playing devil's advocate here.
yeah, I
There's
understand
a lot
that.
of signage here.
I understand that.
To make it
But
safe.
there's other,
To make our insurance company like it, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of signage here.
well, we're gonna have the same guy, so we'll find out what he thinks. And I'll wait for him to get back to me too, but you wanna plan on 28th and we can discuss all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially if at least it gives you an idea of what we have, what would be have to be found.
Yep.
And
Well-
cost wise.
Well, one thing important is we're doing this as a nonprofit, and what we're gonna do with the proceeds is help nonprofits, which would help people like you. I mean, there's the theater, I mean, Legion, the AMVETS, of course, and the nonprofits. That's where the money, the theater.
Right.
So hopefully that, I mean, that would be advertised too, so.
I think if we had, I would say plan on the 28th, so anything that gets brought up or thought of between now and then, things that you might find out between now and then,
Okay,
and then see if we can get there to make sure we cover all the bases.
Yeah.
So.
okay. And I might even get with John earlier, just say, what's it gonna take here, so
Right.
we can discuss that.
Yeah, I don't know what
I mean,
barricade rentals or whatever it costs.
we're gonna have to make it safe for.
And maybe Goodland has
Yeah.
some. Maybe Goodland has some when they did it. I don't know. I mean, that's
But
those
you're
are
talking-
questions. So.
Well, Goodland, they do have some.
Right.
In fact, there's some here in town too that people said that we could use, but it's going to take, the signage is what you're concerned with, right? Not really barricading it off.
Well, I'm worried about barricading off the roads and everything. I don't have enough barricades to do this.
You don't have another wooden ones enough?
I got 12.
Really? Is that all you got? Man, you
I
need
mean,
to
we
give him
usually
some
don't
money.
block off. Huge
Hopefully, we
chunks.
don't have to block off. If we have that many streets, it's a disaster.
Well, would it be acceptable if I find people that have them that will donate them to help?
Our insurance
Yeah.
As long as he's good
If
with
our
it,
insurance
and it blocks. Yeah.
says that they're reflective enough and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
Maybe
I'll
they
see what
got-
Bill's
as long
got.
as
He
there's
did say he's
highway
got some
safety
stuff,
standards.
so.
Right.
Some stuff.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
all right, well, thanks, everybody.
Give us
All
a
right,
break.
thanks, Reno.
I'll
Thank
see you
you.
the 28th. Maybe they'll talk more
You're doing fine.
next time.
Tell you next time.
Yeah. Thanks again.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Any other miscellaneous business? Ken,
Thanks.
you wanna go during miscellaneous?
Bye,
or-
Diane. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll go during miscellaneous.
Real quick,
I'm
okay.
a miscellaneous kind of guy.
All right.
Can I talk about the tower real quick?
Yeah.
Nate was good enough to meet with the 1-year inspection of the tower. They got the robot in there and they're supposed to send a report, so I'll get everybody a picture or a video of what your entire tower looks like, and we're gonna put some dirt down and grade that. Thanks for helping Nate on that, appreciate it. And then on the Hot Park project, Sarah and Kim and John were very helpful. We have about 7 items left on the punch list, and hopefully in the next 2 weeks we'll finish those up. And so one of the things that's not on the punch list is I ordered the catalog for like the signs when you first come into the pool, like instead of just having like a lady sign, there's decorative signs like maybe have the men have like a pirate or something, or just decorative signs in the inside, so it's a little more festive when you come in there. That wasn't a part of that. So thank you very much, Kim, Sarah, and John for all your help on that. And then I'm working with Sarah on the comprehensive plan, and then next week's the first meeting, and then we'll do public outreach at the farmers market. And as we go through that, we'll bring in specialists. Like for example, if you wanted to go after a grocery store, economic development specialists come in and give you strategies. You create a little action plan. When you get done, you can have a list that council can decide what they want to do or what resources they want to dedicate to housing. If you wanted to go after, we can bring housing specialists in, talk to the housing homeowners. But anyway, Sarah's good enough to work with me on that. So that's moving forward. And that's all I've got, unless you.
I only have one question, and you guys may have the answer. The other night, we blew a breaker at the pool, which caused the light to go out. We didn't have much light in a couple areas. But even once we got the light back on, unless there's lighting there that I didn't see, I don't know that there's any lighting on the new building, on the new bathroom building, that would shine straight down on the sidewalks. Most of the time, I think there's ample lighting, but I don't know if ADA wise.
Outside wall packs, you mean?
Yeah, or something that would shut. Yeah, just something. I think it's a good idea, but I'm not.
It was dark there at night.
Right, and the only other thing I know a couple people mentioned is the transition from our drive onto the concrete. I don't know when we have people in if we can just pave that to where there's, and it may not be able to. It may need to drain that way, but there's a lip with the new concrete, which is natural. But I don't know if that's something that we can fill in just so we don't have that, so nobody's running their wheelchair or whatever.
So that road back to
the garage.
So just handicap accessible the whole side.
Whole side.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I know a couple people tripped, it sounded like, but it was also no lighting because the light was blown, so that may have affected it too.
Do you want? I mean, there's really no place to put wall packs on there.
No, I don't know if we can. If there's something,
if you want
I don't know the best answer. I don't.
You want a pole with the sign, or a 12-foot pole with an overhang like a street light?
I was hoping for some mood lighting. I'm joking.
Mood lighting?
I don't. Whatever's easiest to get installed. So there's a little bit more lighting. I think for the walkway around it. I think it might be the safe thing. So.
Is that?
If reliability wise. So.
I'll get with. It's kind of,
yeah.
That's fine. It doesn't have to be crazy, but it's I mean,
we're supposed to get mood lighting on the fountain. I haven't seen that mood light yet.
Get the same mood lighting, so it's the same matches. So that's fine. So.
Lighting and make that the whole entire area just one smooth area.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
All right. We'll do it.
Department head updates. Thanks for coming. You can leave now, right?
Thanks
for hanging in with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Department heads.
I'll go.
Come on. You're fine. We've been waiting.
All right.
Thank you.
We probably ought to start making a decision whether we want to do that parking lot up there or not. Ken, I thought he was going to talk about this while he's at it. Ruth Riley gave us that estimate of $78,000. I thought that was pretty high, so we got some few more.
I think Ken's getting more quotes.
What's that?
I talked to Ken last week about it. He's getting more quotes.
Yeah, I got 2 of them here, and he's got 1 more coming.
Okay.
She had a new one.
What's that?
Who's the other one for?
This is CC Paving. And they want $76,469 to do it
Have we
correct
worked with them
way.
before?
Excuse me?
Have we worked with them before? Is that?
No, I've never heard of these guys.
Don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
How much is
they're
it?
smaller. $76,469. And that's for the retaining walls at both ends, just like Ruth Riley's. And then they gave another quote without having retaining walls at each end, which I don't think we can do because somebody's going to drive off of it, and then we're going to spend more money in lawsuits. American Paving came up with let me find out where. $55,000, add $3,000 to it for the retaining walls, and approximately $10,000 to demo the blocks or the foundation for the old building. That's the whole problem, is that foundation for the building. If we don't tear that out, they can come in and just pave it flat, but it's going to run water into the senior center and cause more problems.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if we're going to do it, we got to do it right and re-slope it, knock all that stuff down. So it don't matter what we're looking at $70,000 to do this.
Yeah, give or take.
And with that being said, I hate to give them a perk, but Ruth Riley is going to be here doing all of our streets downtown in this, all the racetrack.
I was just gonna ask you if you had a preference on
This whole racetrack is going to be what's getting paved this year. So
who's the other company we're waiting on.
I don't know. Ken didn't say, but he said he had one more coming probably this Friday.
When do they need to know by if they're going to be here?
Well, we can tell them anytime. I mean, I don't know if they're going to put us on the back burner. They're probably going to put us on the back burner, but I mean, while they're here doing that, they may want to do it right then. But I mean, it's a lot of money for a parking lot, guys. I understand it, but or we can just keep it gravel and keep spraying it.
Might be cheaper than a lawsuit. If it falls and busts their head open.
You said Ken's get another quote?
Somebody could fall off any of the
Yeah, and we can
curves.
wait for the next quote from Ken, because he said he had one more coming Friday.
I'd say wait, if we're going to have a meeting on the 28th, we can just talk
Do it
about it
then?
then.
Okay.
Or not. We can
Yeah,
always
I
call
agree.
Yeah, 'cause
I agree.
Ruth Riley's supposed to be here at the end of this month, so I'm going to say the beginning of next month.
Okay.
That's usually how it
Maybe,
works.
maybe it'll be the cheap quote that comes in. So.
Yeah. And I mean, cheap's one thing, but they gotta, the biggest part of it is nobody wants to bust out that foundation because they know it's a 200-year-old foundation and they know it's going to be almost impossible to break out of there. We should, when we tear down the next building, we want to make sure we tear down the foundations.
It costs more money to tear down the building.
Yeah, it would take, but the construction equipment that tears out concrete is there then.
Yeah.
These guys are going to have to bring in something special to break out that concrete when they're actually pavers.
Yeah.
So it's going to cost you more money in the long run.
Yeah.
When they was here with the excavator, we would have been better off.
Okay.
The other thing, I think all of you guys have heard that Logan's quitting. Logan Swartz.
Oh, I haven't.
No? I didn't know if anybody had. Have you heard it or no?
I talked to Mike earlier.
So he's quitting. So we're advertising for another employee. If anybody knows anybody, it'd be great. Perfect time for him to be quitting though, because at least it's summertime and we got time to look before plowing season. Plus we got summer help to help with all the mowing, which the older guys being my summer help's awesome. I love it. I wished I'd done it a long time ago. They always show up for work. They don't have baseball games. It's great.
Oh.
So they are working out spectacular.
That is good news.
Also, I'd like to move Damien up to a Class A employee. Be his next class before Assistant Street Superintendent would be the next one. That brings him up to 2320.
Are we wanting to do that because Logan's leaving, or just you were thinking that
He
anyway?
needs moved up. I mean, he's a great boy. No, I don't think Damien has any. I don't think he's wanting to leave now.
Okay.
But he is working 2 jobs he's working another job in Lafayette to help pay for his roof that he's putting on his house, and he is a homeowner in this town.
Mhm.
So I do believe he's going to stay. But,
Okay.
I mean,
You're not leaving for 10 years, but he's got to learn everything if he's going to stick by.
I hope it's just 5.
Oh, I thought you said 10 the other day.
Trump down in office, I'm hoping to get out in 5.
But Damien's at Class B right now at $22. He's wanting to move him up to Class A, which is $23.20. $8.20 raise.
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I mean, he did everything I've asked of him. I mean, he does a great job taking care of the pool and everything. And he's
Well,
going to be
that's
working
good.
a little harder till we find another employee. So
Yeah.
He's got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
From you too. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good idea then.
all right.
Make a motion.
I will make a motion to move Logan Swartz up to Class A.
No,
No.
Damien.
Damien, sorry.
Hood.
Lauren,
Logan's
yeah, sorry.
leaving.
Logan's the one
Logan's
leaving.
leaving.
Damien now. Don't move Logan.
No, the next thing we need to talk
Sorry.
about Logan is
Yeah,
his
move
pay.
Damien to Class A and make a motion to do that.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Now, Logan is wanting, he's got 50 hours vacation time. He's wanting to take 40 of them next week. Damien's on vacation this week, so he's going to do it next week. And that would be his last week. His 2 weeks. So, it'd be ending on the 18th. He wants to know if he could get paid for 10 hours of it. Work for it. Take off 40 hours and get paid for 10. So,
He also has 5 hours.
it's up to you guys what you want.
Pay those out?
You have 4.
It's the discretion of the board.
I don't get that.
They got rid of that
2 years.
2 years.
Something.
I know.
But it's discretionary. You guys, I know you have paid it out in the past. How you guys understand it?
I can't.
Mike, you're really staticky, Mike.
I can't count anything he's saying.
Is it me or?
My hearing sucks anyway.
Mike, sorry, you're all staticky. Could you say that again?
I had
He said we paid it out for more years, so he thinks we paid it out for more.
The sick leave was paid out? Okay.
got fired.
Right. Vacation wise, that's 10 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
We can't keep that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because if not, I just tell them to take Thursday, Friday off.
Right. I mean, we've set the precedents before, I think.
I mean, is
It's a
that
benefit
something
that
we
they
wanna
didn't
always
burn.
stick with though? I mean, is
I
that,
think going forward, we should look at, is there a certain service? No, like 5 years.
Right.
Yeah, he's done 2 years. He hasn't obviously burned a bunch of it. That's a benefit of them not burning it up, and I
Right.
employees that burn it the minute they get it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of whether it's the I think in the future, after 5 years of service, some time vacation we can't withhold. Obviously.
I don't think we should vacation.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Right.
yeah. I mean, what do you think, John? What was he?
No, I mean, he gave me plenty of notice, and he's actually got 2 on calls, and he's doing both of his on calls. So, I mean, he did give me plenty of notice and let me know.
You have any
I won't
problems?
rehire him, but
Oh,
You would or would not?
I will not.
I don't have a problem. He's in attendance, he did plenty of time, which is awesome. That's a great problem.
Yeah, I have nothing against him. It's just that I don't trust him. This game. So
Yeah.
I'm going to work on with somebody else.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, I will, make a motion to, pay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Logan.
Yeah, back to Logan. Back to-
I'll second the motion to pay the vacation and sick leave.
All right, on behalf of both my guys, I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Good luck finding somebody.
Yeah.
Bill, you looking for a
I'm probably
job?
going to be a 70-year-old guy.
You said a 70-year-old guy, but you looking for a job?
There we go.
I'm a little older than that.
Anybody else have anything?
It's more for, Mike on the cell phone, really. Not camera.
Well, I came to see if I could get some money out of the public safety. I don't know how much. I just start research. I would like to purchase a midget camera. It's a camera that when you go into a building, people eat. Ours is, can't tell you, it's at least 10, 15 years old. Batteries. They range, I was looking today, they range anywhere from 8,000. Batteries to charge.
And it sounds like it's definitely something we're gonna need.
Yeah.
Life safety.
Yeah, it's,
I will get some figures.
yeah. Guess I'd say definitely proceed with it.
And that's pretty good.
Nobody's leaving.
207 and 209 North Park Avenue. We're having sewer issues. Their sewers combine and then run across about 3 properties, and then I don't know where it runs. We got them fixed, but it's old butted clay tile. So there's now a sewer in the front of their house, so we could tap that sewer, and then they'll have to rerun their lines to tie into that. But it's like 12 feet deep, so we'll probably have to hire it out because we can't dig it safely. So I got a quote from Rod Green. He can do each tap for $1,000 each, which I thought was super
Is
cheap.
that decent?
Yeah, I thought so.
Is it?
I mean,
Okay.
that's what our tap fees are. So
Okay.
if we charge them a tap fee, which is probably another thing we'd have to talk about, it would cover it. It is going to plug up sometime. So fortunately, where it plugged up, the homeowner gave us permission to dig up their yard, fix it to get them going. I'd like to go ahead and have it hired, have it done. That way, when it happens again in the future, it's there and say, hey, you can just tie into this new tap.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked to one of the homeowners. He was fine with it. I probably just need to talk to the other one. But just get approval for Rod to do that. We'll supply, I mean, the material, but he's got to dig the hole and tap it and everything.
Okay.
So I think it's a good price. I didn't get any other quotes, but
Mm-hmm.
he wants to do work for us. So
Okay. And like you said, that'll be nice to just have it done and ready, so.
Yeah, because it, like I said, it's gonna plug
Be a
up
little
again.
proactive instead of.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Just a matter of time.
Okay.
And they had a porta potty like outside their house and everything. So at least if our side's done, they're not waiting on us to.
Yeah.
Right.
For-
They can go to the new park fountain.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Shower. Yeah.
All right.
Uh-huh.
So
make a motion.
So I'll make a motion to accept the bid for Rod Green to do the new lines.
Tap fees for 207 and 209 North Park Avenue.
Okay. I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's all I got.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. I did have one other thing. I turned in a state invoice today. We bought 10 5-gallon buckets of foam for the trucks. And I divided the price. It was $1,400 some between township, and the fire department. So it was a third, $490 some. I just turned it in, so.
Okay.
Just so you know why it's a third.
Oh, tell your guys thanks for running through downtown on a third to check everything out.
Running what?
I had Sarah ask your crew on
Oh, died.
the third
Or was
if they
Mike?
would make it pass down Fifth Street to make sure there was anything crazy for the parade. So, and all the tree limbs, the 47 truckloads of tree limbs you guys picked up, obviously. So.
From one store.
Yeah.
My phone died. We just lost Mike. Do we need to call him on?
We're just doing claims.
Okay.
So we're three of us. So.
All right.
Sorry, Mike.
Okay.
So, oh.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, he's still
Oh,
here.
you're there? I heard
He's
the
hanging
noise
on.
like my phone died and my battery said it was going down.
Sarah, do you want to go?
Okay, Mike's back.
I just had the waste management contract that you guys approved this June 16th meeting. I just need you guys to look at it and sign.
I'm gonna write this much.
I know we discussed Clayton's pay raise last month. I just wanted to put it in the minutes because he went from the 2548 certified water operator to 2768 utility operator, the WP3 DSM class 2. So if we could just approve that for the minutes. Yeah.
Make a motion to approve. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve Clayton's pay raise to the class 2 to 2648. That correct?
2768.
2768.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes. Marathon. Okay.
That's all I have.
Any last takers? Okay. Review of claims. Did they see anything? Claim
No.
wise? I didn't
No.
either.
No.
Okay. Make a motion to go entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to end our meeting.
To approve claims.
first.
I thought we were just ending.
Oh, no, approve claims first.
Okay, approve the claims and then.
Alright.
I'll second the motion
All in
to
favor?
approve claims.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now, we can adjourn.
Now, I would like to make a motion to end the meeting.
Mike, you wanna make
Call
a
me.
second first? So,
I second, sorry.
favor, say aye.
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 It is done.